Welcome back to the Fell For It Again podcast, hosted by RBF Kyle,
What's up, everybody?
Carnell Tate to the Giants.
All right.
And your,
He
and your
deserves
boy
it.
Double Dose. If you were tuning in for the first time, this is the late entry podcast, but we're going to explain the Fell For It Again later on in the episode. We've got some nice football topics to go over with you guys today, but we've both the NFL and college. But before we get into football, we've got a few little housekeeping things to get into. First one was shout out to Jake, hashtag play yourself. On Wednesday, Kyle and I did the live show, had him on as a guest. He went 100% in his predictions for the games. He called.
He did. I know. I saw that.
Yep. He had Packers over Lions. He had the Bengals over the Ravens. He had the Cowboys over the Chiefs and Ohio State over Michigan. That was incredible.
And we couldn't have been more dead wrong on any of those.
Nope. And we're going to get
I had all those.
Did you?
I mean,
you didn't do it on camera.
But
You should have popped in on the pod.
I was in mid-travel.
Hey, no worries. Speaking of which, how was you guys' Thanksgiving?
Good. Ate some food.
Hell yeah.
Cowboys won. Shout out GP.
Yep. George
Pickens was balling. My fantasy teams did well this week. That's about the only good thing that happened to me in the last 4 days.
Same.
I went 4 or maybe 3-1, but I for sure have 3 locked up this week in my 4 leagues. But basically from Thanksgiving, Lions lose 31-24. Then I got to go eat, and I'm just depressed. I'm in my feelings. And, of course, that carries through to Friday, and all the way through Friday, I'm working with my friends. We're all talking about how terribly the game went. I wake up Saturday. I find out Frank Ragnow fails a physical. I know I'm jumping ahead here. But then 2 hours later, Michigan gets swamped by Ohio State 24-9. It couldn't have been a worse 3 days in a row for me, dude. As a Detroit fan, as a Lions fan, as a Michigan fan, that was so bad. Pistons lost 2 in a row. It was fucking awful. It was so bad, dude.
I'm laughing so I don't cry because I'm right in the same boat with you.
The only reason I'm smiling is because we have a crowd to entertain here. Otherwise, I would be crying just like I have been for the last 3 days.
Yeah, it's been bad. And like I said, we'll get into it in a little bit. But speaking of the holiday weekend, so I was like, if you're watching us, a newer fan, we've talked about before, the sign of us making it as a podcast is when we can all afford Canada Goose coats. And so, it's Black Friday, it's Cyber Monday. I got on the website. I wanted to see, what kind of deals they got. They told me the only thing that I can get on deal is getting the fuck off their website. I pulled that shit up, dog. There's literally, I Googled Canada Goose Black Friday, and there's literally a link for it, right? When you click the link that says Black Friday, it takes you to their main website. Not a fucking deal in sight. 0 deals, bro. I'm not saying it's not a deal in the sense that, it's still expensive. I'm saying straight up, there was no price difference. There was no 10% off, 15% off. It was straight up, if you came here, you got money. And then I saw where they had this, secondhand, not secondhand, but buy used, right? And I'm like, oh, I'm curious to see how much difference the buy used price is. So I click on it. They're so rich over at Canada Goose, nigga. It's a different website. It's not Canada Goose, different tab. It's straight up a different name, Canada Goose, for the website over there, where you can save $600 off of something that's $2,000 and still drop $1,200 on a coat. It's this is the fastest I've been on the website. Go ahead and click off of that shit and go open up Nike and see what's over there.
Yeah. Get ready for those Cyber Monday deals on Nike. Canada Goose is too rich for our blood. And they literally are just telling you that right there by being like, yeah, if you can't afford it, we ain't cutting you no deals, 365, 24/7. This shit's $2,000.
Come here with bread or don't come. So this is the perfect time to say, if you're not subscribed, subscribe to us. Leave us some
Let
comments,
us get our jackets.
like the videos. We need your help. We need your help to get us all in Canada Gooses. Winter
And we're
is
living in the
coming.
Midwest out here. We're cold like 6 months out of the year. We need one of those jackets.
Goodness gracious. All right, let's get into some football. So, in typical Broncos fashion, this Sunday night football game was absolute hot dog water for 3.5 quarters, and it got spicy right at the end, bro. Kyle and I both fallen asleep through this game. Like, I'm texting you guys like, man, I'm tired. Kyle, you're like, yeah, it's gonna be long. Bro, the Sunday night games when they're bad, it makes it so hard to try to hop on this boy. But they came through for us in the second half of that fourth quarter and the end. What an incredible quarter and a half of game from that game. Marcus Mariota, shout out to you, sir. Just the level of like magic he was trying to whip out. It was always the 11th hour. It was always third down, fourth down, and long. And it was just delivering. Then the refs were trying to screw them. They had several. There was a tripping that didn't get called. It was a few other plays. I didn't write all of them down, but the refs were not trying to do them any favors, and they still were overcoming. I have no issue with them trying to go for it for 2 at the end of that game. You're 3-8. You got a backup quarterback in. You're towing up with one of the top teams in the league. What's a tie do for you? Let's go out here and try to get this dub. You're on the road. And like they had pointed out, the defense was tired. It didn't look like it as that defensive player ended the game with the old, get that weak shit out of here. But
yeah, he burned it to about 12 and a half feet on that jump. That was insane.
Yeah, man, that was nuts. It was crazy. Also, one thing before I turn it over to you. Bro, I had to check my calendar to see what year it was. You know how crazy it is to see Treylon Burks touchdown from Marcus Mariota? I'm like, whoa, wait, in 2025? Crazy.
That is crazy. Yeah, I mean, Zach Ertz with 10 receptions. Like that's something you don't hear about every week. Yeah.
He's still out here doing it, dog. He might still have another few years left in him. I feel like been playing at a really high level. He was kind of left for dead from the Eagles. Had a little stopover with the Cardinals, and then has had a nice resurgence with the Commanders. But yeah, Kyle, did you have any other thoughts on this?
I mean, yeah, basically what you said. It was a pillow fight until it wasn't. To me, the big play up from Mariota, I also want to give him my props here for how hard he fought. The biggest play of the game was the pass interference call in overtime. He breaks like 3 tackles in the backfield just to get the ball to the running back who like gets the defensive pass interference called. And like that play alone, like, I mean, just the fight, you could just see him fighting for his job, fighting for his life to keep his relevance here in the NFL. And I mean, that's what look at Jacoby Brissett, right? I mean, the Cardinals don't have a crazy good record, but he's kind of making a name for himself as like a veteran that's actually doing something. He's playing way better than Kyler was. He's actually hitting his targets and hitting his good receivers. And it's just so cool to see veteran quarterbacks hit their resurgence. Taylor today getting the win with the Jets. Yeah, I love seeing guys that are counted out, like fighting for their lives. And I almost wish they would have squeaked it out. I'm not a Commanders fan by any means, but that would have been cool to see.
Man, yeah, as somebody that had my money on the Broncos, I was very conflicted toward the end of that game. I was like, on one hand, trying to get this bread so I can buy these Canada Goose jackets. On the other hand, yeah, man, you saw them all fight so hard, and Mariota, like, I just want to make sure that we give him all the flowers because, dog, especially against that defense, insane. Him, Debo, Terry McLaurin going against Pat Surtain, and still, I wouldn't say giving him work, but he had some good moments. Like, it was, very impressive.
Yeah, I think he had like 95 yards on the night.
Damn.
McLaurin did, yeah.
And then to get that pass interference and take away that touchdown and then go right back to Debo with it.
I know, that was sick. If only Debo would have got in, dude. I mean, it wouldn't have made a difference. They would have gone for 2 and probably same old song and dance. But, man, what a game.
Toph, did you have anything on that?
Yeah, Marcus Mariota looked like he was back at Eugene, Oregon out there, man. I definitely did not see that. That was not on my bingo card. But shout out for the backup, going out there playing with house money. Ain't got nothing to lose, but a draft pick. I feel like at this point,
Yeah, Yeah.
You really want Jaden to come back to play for nothing and, risk more injury. The way he's playing, you might as well just have him shut it down. Let Marcus, ride it out to the sunset. If this is last year, let him rock out, see what you got. But, they gave everything they had, man. Like I said, for a team, for the Broncos, who we think, might be, one of the best in the league. I'm pretty sure they did not, expect that to be coming down to the very last minute with Nick Benito making the play of the game. It's good seeing Scary Terry back in action. I feel like he's been gone, all year. I will say PS2 boy, woof. He had that boy having fits. Anytime he was locked up with him, Scary Terry, it was looking real scary for him out there. Good to see PS2 back out there as well, too. But overall, good game. I did not watch any. I feel like the first quarter, I think when it was about 14 points, I said, okay, let me put this in on the phone while I'm playing some college football. And then after that, I tuned in, watched the whole thing. So it went from a snooze fest, I feel like WWE gif, Undertaker, rising up. That's how I felt watching that game. I was like, okay, now we got something going on here. But
right.
Yeah, that was a good Sunday night game, man. I'm happy with that.
That was me in the fourth quarter getting up out of laying down to sit up to watch the rest of that. I was like, oh, you've got my attention now. Hold on a second. Does anyone – I have a quick question here, and y'all feel free to tell me if you think I'm tripping. I cannot stand watching the Broncos offense. It is one of the most boring, disgusting, just run it. I don't know. I guess I love, the whole bombs away, air raid offenses and stuff. And just watching the Broncos, I'm like, oh my God, please let this game end. Every time I watch them. Am I tripping for this, or do you guys feel similar?
No, I think they're super inconsistent. You never know what you're gonna get. A couple weeks ago when they played, was it the Raiders? I think it was a Thursday night game. That was just awful to watch. But
yes.
I feel like you kind of saw the Broncos what they can be. A little in overtime. They got the ball. You had that. Amazing play from Evan Ingram. Got matched up on, OG Bobby Wagner. They got to get that man out of space. He cannot be guarding these tight ends out there. He cannot move with these tight ends out there.
Not anymore.
He got a pick tonight.
I mean, he didn't have to move for that pick. He was right to him.
You're so right. You're so right.
He probably took 3 steps and said, oh, that's an easy give me one. But it's hard to, really expect what to get from the Broncos other than defensively. Because sometimes you see Bo, he'll light it up. He might get that fourth quarter comeback. Like I said, you see he's got the talent, he'll make the plays, but it's just, you never know when it's going to happen. And I think that could be, very dangerous when it comes to the playoffs. When every possession matters, you can't have these stagnant, points in the game. Turnovers, you pay double for that in the playoffs. So, I would hate to see this team do so good all throughout the year just to, have a bad game at the worst time, and that's end up being your whole season.
I wanted to play Justin Herbert.
Hey, he's trying out there, man. My boy trying. Get that man some help.
Kyle, you have anything on that, or you want to switch?
Yeah, I mean, on the Justin Herbert thing, I think he just hurt his wrist, so who knows what's going to happen there.
Yeah,
I think he broke a bone in his hand, but they said he's still going to play.
Is that what they said? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Probably wear a brace or something.
Yeah. They say he just has trouble holding on to the ball. So
that's a problem.
You're right in the thick of the playoff chase. He has to play.
Yeah.
I have
something. You don't want Trey Lance to play, so.
Right. I have something super, super off topic to bring up real quick before we go to the next topic.
Strong arming. It's usually me doing that.
It is incredibly off topic, and I don't want to derail this conversation too far. Kyle, you asked me, I think, off camera Wednesday, how Austin Reeves has been doing. I don't know if you guys have been following that shit.
He's been hooping.
Boy, he went crazy the other night against the Mavs. Him and Luka each had over 30 points. My man,
yeah,
Austin,
I think he had 38.
Bro, hooping. I don't want to go off too far with that. I just wanted to answer your question.
It's a winter wonderland in LA right now. All Asians is up right now.
Talking about that white lightning. Just like it's the 80s again.
Yo, speaking of
like Alaska out here.
Speaking of the whites, Toph, you might know which team this was. I saw
He's like,
Hold on, keep going.
he unplugged him with the culture. He didn't even turn to me.
No,
He turned
no, wait.
So if you're the ambassador for the whites.
Hey, someone's got
No,
to do
because
it.
it's I think it was a college. I think it was a college football team. There were some players sitting up at a press conference. They were wearing shirts that said CCU, Caucasian Collision Unit. I was like, that shit's fire.
I don't know
That's
what
tight.
it is. That's funny.
Yes, someone had
CCU.
tweeted it and said, "From the people that brought you exciting whites."
Shout out CCU.
Hey.
Riley Moss is probably like the chairman.
Um,
Cooper DeJean is vice president.
Going back over to the NFL though, so the last, and it's so funny that we didn't do power rankings last week on Wednesday, because who I think all of our probably number one just got humbled today. The last of the quote good teams that we thought fell today, and it just goes to show you once again that this season has been crazy. That anybody can lose any day, but the Rams, they lost to the Panthers, dog. The Rams that just beat the shit out of the Bucks the other day just lost to the Panthers.
It happens, man. That's the NFL for you.
Blew my parlay up. Did not see that coming, dog. I know, and we talked about it before about how like the Panthers can give anybody a hard time and they could really ruin anyone's Sunday. But I mean, I don't know if either one of you even thought that it was a possibility that they would do that today to them. Shout out. Oh, one more thing. I'm sorry to tie both of these together. Traylon Burks, that touchdown. Yo, that one-hander. He was wearing 13 while making an Odell catch. It was crazy, bro. Straight back, yeet. Got that, bro. Insane. And then what made me think of that was, did you see Puka's catch today too? Different kind of one-hander. But literally, bro, out here and just caught that boy and brought it right. These, bro, the players are insane. They're so skilled nowadays. It's every week you can turn on a game and just see one of the most incredible catches or athletic feats ever. You know what I mean? And shout out Traylon Burke, shout out Puka. But did Toph, any thoughts on the Rams loss and what this looks like?
Yeah,
for the rest
like
of the
I
NFC?
said, definitely a parlay buster for sure for me.
Yeah.
I remember talking to Kyle, to start the year. I said, one team that I could see just being a surprise was Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, it's just they've had some weird wins, and some weird losses as well. Too. I know they had a tough one against the 49ers. Then you had the OT win against my team. But like Bryce Young, it's just like it's like a love-hate with this guy. Because like his highs would be really high, the lows would just be like, this man got it. And I stuck with him in the fantasy. I said, I think he could do it. I don't think he's every week slot him in there. I almost didn't play him today. So I actually got lucky that I made that last second move. So you know what? Let me roll with Bryce. But like I said, I hope the guy does really good. I mean, he played against, probably arguably the best team in the league. Went up against, probably our leading case for MVP in Matt Stafford. And the whole team, from offense, defense, special teams, just, took it to them. Took back the woodshed, put straight belt to behind. I ain't going to swear it today. I'm going to keep it PG here. Look, the Panthers are an exciting team, man. They got, some talent. I don't think they're the most talented team, but, they've been playing really hard as of late. T-Mac has really turned it on as of late. I know he had, one catch today, but the guy's immensely talented. I think we just, he's just scratching the surface how good he could be. Panthers as well, too. But, yeah, this is a shocker to just see, the Rams just, falter. I don't know if they were just looking ahead. They just kind of, feeling themselves. Thought, this would be an easy win. And got caught up.
It's Go ahead, Kyle.
No, it was just it was just a weird second half. Like, felt like the Rams did kind of get stagnant, kind of got lazy, thinking like any lead they had was good enough, and that if the Panthers went and tied it, then the Rams would just go and score again. And then what do you know? The Panthers end up taking the lead there late, and the Rams, I mean, you can't do nothing about it. So, that was a weird game. I felt that way. Even I think it was halftime and it was 21-14, maybe 21-17. And sitting there at halftime, I was like, there's no way the Rams lose this game. Like, there's no way that their momentum slows down before the Panthers' offensive momentum. And I was once again wrong, as I am so often in my sports takes, apparently. And I'm realizing that and putting it on blast for all of you guys to enjoy. So I'm just gonna start talking shit about everything and saying the opposite of everything I want to happen now.
The reverse jinx. So I have 3 questions I want to ask you guys. Just kind of short answers so we can keep pushing. But I want to know, with, oh my God, Bryce Young. Sorry, in respect to Bryce Young, I feel like he is. And it's early. I'm not trying to say anything bad about him at all because it's still very early in his career. But do we feel like Bryce Young is the kind of quarterback that kind of holds you hostage, where he wins enough to not get replaced, but never wins enough to actually have a shot at a chip? That's question 1. Is Matt Stafford's MVP odds, do they decrease heavily off this loss today? And do we feel any less confident about the Rams as a potential Super Bowl team moving forward?
All right.
Answer the first question.
Go ahead.
You want to go?
Go ahead.
To answer the first question about the Bryce Young, I mean, like I said, Skip Bayless says a lot. If I have to think about it, it's not a for sure thing. When I think of Bryce Young, when I hear that name, it's a bit of hesitation on it because you never know what you're going to get. He has some games where it's just, awful. Offense can't move at all. I do think, they could be, stuck in that purgatory mode where, like I said, right now you're 7-6. You're basically, tied with the Buccaneers for first place in the division. The more you win, you're not going to get, a top, draft pick for your quarterback. So you kind of have to just stay with, Bryce Young, or end up getting these stopgap quarterbacks, the Jameis Winstons, the Russell Wilsons. So, yeah, I mean, if you're going to keep winning, which, I know that's the goal for every team to win the Super Bowl, you kind of are stuck in that where you don't really have another option. You kind of have to roll with them. Number 2.
Wait, real quick. I'm sorry. To address your first point, because you had said the same thing about both of them. You had said you never know what you're going to get. It can be really good or really bad. My favorite game when evaluating quarterbacks is if you take 2 quarterbacks, swap teams, what's the result? To compare that to someone else, you said you take Bryce Young and Bo Nix and switch them. What happens? Toph.
I mean, I like Bo Nix over Bryce Young.
Do you think that the Broncos take a step back, a big step back with Bryce Young?
Yeah, probably. I mean, just because Bryce Young's stature is a lot different than Bo Nix.
I think that's so hard to
play kind of
say,
fits with the Broncos. I feel like
that's so hard to say though, because like Bryce Young would be coached under Sean Payton for 3 years, and Bo Nix, Bryce Young would be coached under Sean Payton for 3 years, and Bo Nix would be coached under Canales for 3 years. That's completely different, circumstances, and maybe Bryce Young's looking that much better right now. I just mean if you switch that much more consistent.
Okay, switch them right now.
Okay.
For the rest of the season.
I agree.
Okay. Do you think that Bo Nix elevates the Panthers a lot more?
Yes, and I mean Bo Nix is he's kind of in that position of what we've talked. Like he's in a really good and an offense that props him up because, like you said, they look boring, but you're just kind of waiting to see them pop off because there's that capability, and sometimes they just let you down. You're waiting to see that big Troy Franklin go route or that Cortland Sutton on a post. But sometimes it just, they just can't do it, and they kick 6 field goals in the game and win 21-18 or whatever, but yeah, I don't know. I like Bryce Young. I really think that he has been given somewhat of a bad rep. Obviously, his physicals have a lot to do with somewhat of the slowness of his career early on. I think just not being able to see over 6'7" men when you're 5'9", 5'10". It's not easy, but I think he's adapting. He's got decent movement back there, good feel for the pocket. I think there's no reason they don't re-sign him for a $180 to $200 million contract in a year. To me,
Toph, with respect to Matt Stafford MVP and the Rams the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he takes a drastic, hit Like I said, everybody has a bad game here or there. I think the person that has been heating up as of late is Dak Prescott. I would still take Matt Stafford, right now. I think it's a bit closer now, especially with what Dak has done these past 2 weeks. You had to elevate him. So maybe not running away with it, but I still think, Matt's putting up some numbers that, I don't want to say generational, but these are some crazy numbers that he has.
Best of his career, I believe.
Yeah, and like I said, I call him Bad Bag Matt. Yeah, like I said, Bad Bag Matt had a bad game today, but he's still Matthew Stafford. Like I said, I'm still going to trust this man.
Okay. Rams outlook for the rest of the season.
I mean, I still think they're one of the best teams. Everybody, lays an egg here and there, so ain't nobody perfect in this league. We just saw the Broncos, almost lose one today. So, no, I'm not worried about it.
Kyle, do you disagree on either point?
No, not really. Yeah, I mean, he threw 2 interceptions today. I had to go double check that. I thought it was just one, but for some reason I felt like there was a second one, and sure enough there was. But to me, Matthew Stafford is still the favorite to win it. If Jonathan Taylor would have kept that crazy first 7 games up, I think we'd be having a different conversation. But to me, he is still the clear favorite. I have a lot of disdain for the Cowboys in general, so saying Dak Prescott as my new favorite is hard for me. But he has been having a really good season, and I got to commend him for that. But yeah, Stafford's just putting up crazy numbers. The touchdowns he's been throwing to Devontae, and just the general production he's getting out of that offense without a ton to work with outside of. I mean, he's got a great wide receiver 1 and 2, but yeah, the Rams just always find a way to win, man. And so for the outlook for the rest of their season, I'm not worried about that either. I think that could be a way they lose in the playoffs is something like that, but they're never going to be out of a game through the rest of the season. That's just the way the Rams play football. Even if they're having a bad day, they're going to find a way to bring it down to the wire.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. All right. So, Kyle, you asked me on Wednesday. You said if the Lions lose on Thanksgiving, is it a ruined Thanksgiving? And I said, ordinarily, I'd say yes. But we have Frank Ragnow coming back. So even if we lose, help is on the way. And then, as you said earlier in the episode, we took a loss. And then the next day we found out Frank Ragnow failed his physical and is not coming back this season. It's got to be one of the most brutal 2-day stretches that I can remember in the last few years as a Lions fan. I'm gonna let you go first on this, and then I'll come. No, let me not say what I was gonna say. Go ahead.
Good catch.
Hit him with that comeback. Now, yeah, this is depressing. 7-5, but I feel like we're freaking 5-7. It's just sad, man. And I mean, yeah, the best part about like knowing, okay, we're at a disadvantage was we're getting Frank back, and now that's not even true. So, to me, I mean, I don't see this team beating anybody we shouldn't on paper for the rest of the year, and that's a problem because we've got a couple of those coming up. I know we got the Steelers, we got the Vikings twice. We got to play the Bears again in the last
Cowboys,
week.
Rams are the next 2.
Not
Cowboys,
the Vikings
Rams.
twice.
I'm just.
Yeah, go ahead. We played them once.
Oh yeah, you're right. We did get them once. You're right. We got them with JJ, or we didn't get them with JJ, and so that's one of the L's, and they're freaking 4-7. I'm 4-8. Like I'm all out of whack now. Like my whole. Oh God, I'm just so depressed, bro. This is so disheartening, and you could just see it. I watched the press conferences with the guys the day after, maybe Saturday, whatever it was that those were posted. And I mean, Jared Goff just had like our season is over energy, like through the whole press conference. Like you could see him being like, "Oh yeah, we got guys up front that we trust." I'm like, when have you shown a lick of trust to the guys up front this whole year? Never. So like, no, you don't. Like you're just saying that to get the hell out of this interview. Like I'm so scared, dude. Like this is terrifying to me. The season's over. It really is. Like there's there's no way we get out of this, in my opinion.
What's crazy to me is the fact that like this is like the least fun I told you so ever, and not just you, but all of like the Lions fans. Like, and it's sad to see like the spirits of everybody breaking from the Lions to the fans. Like Matt texted me, who's the other big Lions glazer. He was like, I don't know if we're making the playoffs this season, and this was before right now filled the physical. He was like, you might want to tell right now just come back next year, try it again. And then we got the news, and I was like, "Oh my god!" It's like, and this is the thing that I had pointed out like before the season started, where I was saying like we saw this exact same thing with Philly. It's you get to the Super Bowl, you get close to the Super Bowl, you start losing coordinators, you start losing players, and we saw Philly basically had the whole year where they imploded and then retooled and came back the next year, and I'm concerned, and I felt this way 2 years ago when we lost in the NFC Championship. I was like, this might have been our window, and we might have just watched that close. And then we came back last year, and we're winning all those games, and it was like, oh, we might have some hope. But the injuries were bad. And then now this year, we've got more healthy players, but it's we're missing some people on the line, and we are missing our coordinators, and it's like there's not a lot to be hopeful for. The biggest thing that we have to be hopeful for is just the fact that no team is running away with it right now. Like there's nobody that we're looking at that can't be beaten. I mean, the Rams, like I said, they were the last one in the NFC that we thought couldn't be beaten, like by just anybody. And then they took a loss to the Panthers today. So there's that for us. But I mean, at the same time, and if I go to the NFC North, we're out of the playoff picture. We're in the hunt. Chicago is at 9 wins. They're actually leading the NFC in its entirety. Who would have thought that? So they're at 9 wins. The Packers are at 8 wins. We're at 7 wins. Now, the thing that we've got going for us is that we still control our destiny in the fact that we play both of those teams again. Like, we've got a shot to knock them down a peg while also elevating us. We don't play the Packers again. You're so right.
We're done against them.
Yeah.
You're so right.
0-2. Split with the Bears.
Yep.
But they're up 2 games.
I know, bro. It's so depressing.
There's a path forward, but it involves a lot of winning from a team that we haven't seen give us reason to believe that we can do this winning. And we just feel broken. The offense is still bad. We don't know how long Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to be out for. That was huge. I mean,
the offensive line has arguably gotten worse. The play calling outside of that first week under Dan Campbell has arguably been worse than it was under Johnny Moe. You know, I
tried to tell y'all that, not just you, Kyle, but everyone's all excited about it. We played the Commanders with no Marcus Mariota was not the Marcus Mariota we saw tonight. We played the Commanders and put up points. Yes, like cool. You know what I mean? But
the 10-2 Broncos couldn't. I mean, they barely got to 27 in extra time. So that's the NFL, man. Things are they're so different week to week. It goes to show to me that Dan has been like scheming up for Washington since that loss, right? And so that was like his moment to shine, and he knew exactly what the script was going to be, and he would, especially with them being as injured as they were on offense. Like he knew we had that game, and then from there, it's been scrambles. Like, and he had to scramble against freaking Jameis Winston at quarterback. Like that's a problem. And then now you just get beat again. And I know there were bad calls in that game against the Packers, but like that's no reason to still lose the game on Thanksgiving at home. Like when you had the momentum kind of going with you, and you had a couple games under your belt with wins under Dan Campbell, it sucks, man. It's nothing like we want to see. I mean, the only path forward to me is if this O-line all of a sudden starts playing like a top 10 O-line again, which I don't think is going to happen. Like there's just too many holes, too many injuries, and too much young blood like on the interior part of that O-line, and not enough pro snaps.
You know what goes to show your exact point about the line too? The Bears just ran all over the Eagles. They had Swift and Kyle Monangai both go absolutely crazy against them. Yeah. We've got Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, and Gibbs had a big game because of receiving yards. We were not running on them. Mm-hmm. And that's what we do well. And it's just, it's depressing. and once again, I see the parallel exactly to the Eagles of a few years ago, where it's like we had a hot start, and then here comes the slide, and that slide went straight to the playoffs, and they went home against the Bucks, and that's where it's looking like for us if we even make the playoffs. Um, it's broken over there. The defense some weeks will hold up and look really good, and then the next week they'll let us down. I mean, Micah went crazy against our line. Jared Goff, it's just it's depressing. Like, and I don't know if I'm not saying that we're completely cooked because there's still a chance. But do I have any amount of confidence to come out here and say, "Oh, we got this"? No, and I think that, and I feel terrible saying this too because I love the guy, but I'm hoping that some of the Lions fans wake up from the delusion of the, no matter what happens, Dan Campbell got us. And it's like, all right, Dan Campbell is just a man. Like, you know what I mean? And he's going to have to deal with the same ups and downs that every other team has. And here's where we're going to get tested as the Lions is like, okay, the Chiefs, the Eagles, the Bills, all these teams that are constantly in the hunt, the 49ers, all the teams that are constantly in the hunt. It's like, okay, you hit a spot of adversity, you hit injuries, you hit coaching leaving, and then do you retool and run it back? Or is this the end? And then we go back to being what we were before. And it's not getting any easier. The Bears, I don't think that they are. I don't think that I mean, the record is what the record is. Like, you know what I mean? They're at the top of the NFC right now. I don't know if anyone, even Bears fans, believe that they have a real Super Bowl shot this year. But I don't think they're going to get any worse. I think that Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams next year looks even better. The Packers, I don't think they're going to get any worse. They're going to have more time to get Matthew Golden involved. They're going to let Micah learn that defense even more. Things are going to gel more for them. The Vikings have a great defense and a terrible quarterback situation right now, which we're going to talk about in a few minutes. If they get the quarterback situation together, that's another hard out. So we're looking like, okay, we got a lot of talent on paper, but by no stretch of the imagination are we the big dogs in the NFC North. And then we've got to look at the Seahawks, the Rams, the Eagles, the Bucks, the Panthers. It's not getting any easier. And so this is going to be, I mean, arguably the most important offseason of our franchise history. As I can say that as we've not won a Super Bowl before. But I mean, what happens next is it's gonna be what defines us for a long time.
Yeah, these off-season hires, because I'm sure there's going to be some in the coaching staff, right? There's going to be some firings and some hirings, probably most specifically on offense. But yeah, I mean, to me, like the obvious answer, but like maybe doesn't mesh, and I could be showing my football knowledge here or lack thereof, but like to me, a young play caller like Mike McDaniel would just come and blend so well. And I mean, I don't even know that the Dolphins are going to fire him, but let's say he loses his job. Like, to me, that would be the perfect answer for the Lions to go to for somebody who's creative and can kind of like work side by side with Dan, take the stress off Dan, but also like understands how a game scheme is going to go on offense and can kind of like predict and surprise people, again, like we used to have, which I feel like we haven't done at all this year. I feel like every play is predictable. You know what's coming every time. Like the one or two times a game where I say, oh, this is a run and it's a play action, I'm not even pleasantly surprised because there's usually a defensive end in Jared Goff's face in like a second and a half. But I'm like, oh, I actually didn't read that one right. Like, but that's a problem that me, who doesn't understand football scheme, can pick apart what you're going to do before you even do it every play of the game. Like that's you're not going to win games doing that.
Yeah, we need better offensive linemen and we need a better offensive coordinator immediately. And you see, like, that was one of the biggest things that the Bears did in the offseason was they got Joe Thuney and they got someone else. I forgot who it was.
They got Jonah Jackson, and they got 3 new guys. Yeah.
And that's paid dividends. Before we look at the rest of the NFC North, Toph, you have any non-biased takes on the Lions?
Man, I'm going to try to not take up too much time because I got a lot of things to say here. But, I'm going to try to condense it as quickly and efficiently as possible here. At no point in time this year did I think this team will not be in the playoffs.
Yes.
We could look back in the tape, but I'm pretty sure if I remember my prediction for this team, 12-5 or 11-6, and it's looking about right there. And I said this team will still be good, but I think losing Ben Johnson was a huge, huge, step that it probably took them at least a year to kind of really figure out exactly how to do it. Because what he's doing against Chicago, I mean, 9-3, and I don't even think they're even really playing that well. And that team is still 9-3. I don't know how, but he's doing it. And just seeing, him in that, post game, locker room, he took his shirt off. The whole team, resonated with him. That team's 100% bought in. Everybody in that locker room, they're rocking with him. Win, loss, doesn't matter. I got to tip my hat to that. But I think the biggest thing that they really need, I still think they need another pass rusher, and they need another corner. Amik Robertson and Turner Arnold, they're too much liabilities. And Aiden, I mean, he's been trying to do it himself, but like I said, you have all of these picks, and they do an amazing job at drafting. But when you just said a couple years, you know how expensive all the players are going to be when they come up for contracts. Aiden is one of the highest paid players in the league. Branch will be another expensive guy in there. You got to decide, do you want to keep J-Mo? Jahmyr Gibbs, he's gonna there's going to be a lot of money being thrown out there for Detroit. So like I said, what you can say in that window, once those contracts start coming, like I said, you're not going to have this super deep team. I think Penei Sewell has got a deal. I know A-Rod, he's got his deal as well too. But like I said, I mean, how much longer going to keep Goff as well too? I know some of the fans, I think they're getting tired of him. I literally saw a video the other day about him, with his wife and his daughter. And they said, since he's had this kid, he ain't been the same Jared Goff. I thought that's kind of crazy to just, say that about this man, with this kid. I would never say that about somebody, but like I said, he does what he does out there. I know he's not the force multiplier, but, he's the best quarterback you've had Matt Stafford as well, too. But, winning-wise, Matt Stafford wasn't doing what he's doing as well, too.
He didn't have a team.
Yeah, like he didn't have a team. But I think the biggest thing, nobody's ever said this name. I don't think he would leave where he's at. But Brian Hartline at Ohio State, this is his first time calling plays as well, too. But, he's a lot of the reason why all those wide receivers, Ohio State, are where they're at. J-Mo, he had him as well, too. I think he's an amazing, amazing offensive talent. I don't think he'll leave Ohio State, but nobody said his name. I think, him in Detroit with all those weapons, I think that would be a very interesting thing to see. I think someone has to reel Dan Campbell in.
Yes.
I don't think he can.
Yes.
Him trying to be, the motivator, the rah-rah guy, and trying to call plays is taken. You can't get the full effect if he's doing both roles.
Yeah.
Because like I said, there's so many times I'm like, man, you got to take your three right here. We got to stop going for fourth down so many times.
Thank you.
Because sometimes, they could miss something. You don't know what's going to happen. When the points are there on the board, you got to take it. You act like Jake Bates can't kick it. I think he's got one of the best, legs in the league. And I'm like, why don't they just let this guy kick the ball? I mean, 3 points is still 3 points. You got to get these points in there. I get it. You're one of the best teams going for fourth down. You get it a lot. But when you get these nick and tuck games, man, you got to take these points. We can't keep doing this on multiple drives, back to back to back. Like I said, especially in the playoffs, like I said, every possession matters. You can't be giving the ball up. These short fields, if you're like on the goal line, I get it. I'm not mad about that one. But when you're like, field goal range, about, 30, 40 out, just take your three, man. Because like I said, you are right there with the Packers. But if you keep giving them more chances, eventually it's not going to work out in your favor. So I think just having a play caller, like when you had Ben Johnson, you knew for sure he was going to have that offensive rolling. But yeah, I don't like him having the, head coach and play call duties in there. I still think he needs just like somebody like situational coach be like, hey, I don't care what the Metalytics say. You go for three, man. You can't just be, getting nothing out there. That's what I'm going to say. I'm not going to bury him too much in there.
Look, I want to,
maybe, yeah, go ahead. I was going to say maybe missing the playoffs and kind of, getting people healthy back, finding, a real, play caller. Because like I said, this is his first time calling plays, right?
He did it for a little bit in his first year after they
Yeah.
fired their first OC, but yeah, not much.
Okay. Yeah, it ain't for everybody. And where that team is with all those expectations, that's a lot of pressure. You see Kevin Matulo and, Philly, he's getting crucified out there. So I think it's just a lot going on in Detroit. They want to do it, but I just don't think it's lining up this year, man.
I'm glad that you said some of the stuff about Ben Johnson and Dan Campbell, because there's two things I want to say about this. The first one is, Toph, you said it perfectly about the taking the points. And I've been screaming this for 3 years. One of my biggest issues with Dan Campbell is the fact that I don't feel like he is growing as a coach as it pertains to situational football. Like, there are so many things to love about Dan Campbell, and we would be nowhere that we are without him. I want to preface this by saying this. Like, the city of Detroit owes Dan Campbell a lot, and I no way want him gone. He's the guy for the job. But he's got to wake the fuck up, dude. We are having the same problems for 3 years. You've learned nothing from the NFC Championship loss to the Niners. The issue there was not kicking field goals. And we're doing the same shit. My biggest issue with him is you've got a culture, right? We're going to be more physical than you. We're Detroit. We're grit. And we're going to keep pounding. And on fourth down, we're going to go for it. That's a good culture to have. But a smart coach understands situational football. And if you are like against the Eagles, bro, like the shit's not working. You tried it once. You tried it twice. Okay? It's not working. It's okay to kick the field goal. It's okay to punt. It's okay to do whatever. We don't have to keep making the same mistake over and over through the whole game. You know what I mean? It drives me fucking crazy sitting at home watching it. And like you said, like you used the perfect word. Someone needs to reel him back in, because I feel like he just is so set in his fucking ways of we're going to keep doing this. How many times do you have to touch the stove before you know it's hot? I get that we want to do this, but sometimes understand the moment and make a decision based on the moment, not just what your culture is. The other thing, too, that you talked about with Ben Johnson about his turnaround over there and them being fully bought in, it was big news out of the Bears training camp that he was not putting up with any mistakes. If you fucked up, you're sitting on the sideline, you're watching. And it was bad at first. Players were pissed off. Everyone was like, oh, shit, here he comes. You know what I mean? Trying to be Mr. Big Shot. But what he did is he got them locked in. They're disciplined. They're a disciplined team. They're not making mistakes. Everyone knows what the play is because we don't want to go sit down. Now, if you look over at the Lions, we're undisciplined as hell. We've got players punching players and missing games because of it. We've got J-Mo jumping on the fucking goalpost and taking a penalty because he wants to hang on the goalpost. We've got offsides and all these other penalties. We're not disciplined. So far this season, we're not making adjustments as it pertains to going 4 on 4th. We are we're undisciplined and taking penalties and getting suspended. And there was one more thing that I was going to say, and I can't fucking think of what it was. But basically, our culture is not good. Oh, we lost a game out of a bye. To which team was it? It was to the
Vikings.
The Vikings. To the JJ McCarthy Vikings. That's all coaching. That's all 3 of those are directly tied to coaching. So I want to just end my little rant by saying I want Dan Campbell here, but I want a better Dan Campbell. And I don't think that that's unfair of us as fans to ask for.
I agree completely. Yeah.
There we go.
I do. Hey.
There we go.
Hey, I've been here for I was here last week with you. Basically.
But he hasn't heard it yet on the live.
Yeah, I guess that's
family
true.
have not heard it on the live. Like I said, I love Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
I'm not a Lions fan, but I do like watching this team play. Like I said, I want them to do well. I mean, my whole life, this team has sucked. Mm-hmm. So seeing this team be good, like I said, state of Detroit, state of Michigan, other than the team up north, I want them all to do good. Like I said, Dan's got to get together, man. You're robbing your team, robbing the fans.
Yeah, these hires are going to be huge because I didn't. I mean, I knew. Obviously, I know Ben Johnson, and I knew that before this season started. I knew he had a big role in this. I just thought there was like the command that Dan has in the room, and kind of what he'd learned from his time with Ben would kind of like help mend this bridge here. But I mean, yeah, I mean, last year I remember even being mad that we weren't going for it on certain 4th and 2s in field goal range, but like just because like we're up by 2 scores and they were taking the 3, but like that was, now that I'm thinking about it, that was probably all Ben just being like, no, we're not going for that. Like he's just like, it's not happening. Take the fucking points.
Yeah.
I'm not writing up another screen pass to Jahmyr Gibbs on 4th down. They're gonna see it coming. Like I can't help but think that that's what was happening back there now. And
just because you with this guy doesn't mean that you got his skill set.
right. No, I agree.
Mind.
I agree. Absolutely. And the feel for the game that Ben has is clearly unmatched because he's found a way to make this Bears team 9-3, which is insane.
And some OCs can't make a head coach, but so far he's done it.
Yeah.
That is a very hard transition. Some people like Josh McDaniels, he's a perfect example. We've seen him try to be a head coach plenty of times, but when he goes back to OC role, he's one of the best there is.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, that's how it goes most times. So that's kind of what I thought would happen. I thought honestly the opposite would happen, that Dan would be fine because he's still in his role he's used to, and then Ben Johnson would be like, it would take him a year to figure out, how are we going to get this done? How am I going to be a head coach and an OC and figure out how to get Caleb up to speed? But they went 0-2 in their first 2 weeks, and now they're 9-1. So I mean, shout out to the Bears for doing what they're doing, but I'm not happy about it.
Toph, I want you to go first, and then Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
2 questions. Have we had enough time to properly evaluate J.J. McCarthy, as it's only been like 4 games? And part 2, do you think there needs to be some kind of accountability in Minnesota for the fact that they let Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones leave?
Man, I was just sitting here, thinking like, man, this team. I mean, JJ, like, I feel like he'll start, he'll do bad, he might get injured like every single week. Either playing better, he's getting injured.
Yeah.
Like I said, you can't build no kind of consistency. You can't build up any kind of repertoire, no kind of progress, if you're in and out games right now. And then you let this man literally walk right out the door.
Both of them.
You see what he's doing, in Seattle. I get it. He's been in the league for a while. He was a bit of a journeyman. Didn't pan out, the way that you saw, but he was in your building. You had a lot of success in it. I know it kind of faltered at the end. Maybe you thought, okay, J.J. McCarthy, he's a wild card. He's younger. I don't have to pay this guy, what I have to pay, Sam Darnold. So there's a lot of factors in it. But, what you saw that he did, you had to at least replicate that, because, you can't be going, backwards. And, like I said, we could say the same thing about in San Francisco when they did that trade for Trey Lance. If Brock Purdy wanted to save the day, we probably wouldn't have John Lynch and what's my man? Shanahan. There we go. So like I said, yeah, there's definitely got to be some accountability. You made that move. You could have signed him. You chose not to.
Before Kyle goes, I just want to say 2 things. For context, I'm correct. Last year, the Vikings were tied for first place and then lost that game to us, which we were able to get the number 1 seed. Now the Vikings are 4-8 currently. The one thing that I will say is I understand maybe it's hard to look at it both ways, of just the fact of like, if you keep Sam Darnold, you have an immediate quarterback controversy. We never saw what JJ was, and you can't have Sam Darnold go back to the bench after the season he had. Daniel Jones, no one knew that Daniel Jones was going to be this year's Daniel Jones last year. So it's like, I mean, you could keep him as a backup, but we didn't know that he may have been this good. It just looks worse now.
To me, the answer was, I mean, it's so hard because I know, like, Sam Darnold wanted $100 million, like he got, right? So, but to me, like, especially with where the market's heading, to get a quarterback 1/2 at that discount, like somebody that is going to be seamless in your offense if you're starter, who you think was JJ last year, right, goes down, let's say, with all these injuries we're seeing from JJ, let's say worst case scenario is happening now, and you have Sam Darnold as your backup. So you get to just jump right back into it like it was last year, be seamless. But instead, you saved that $100 million, probably paid a couple other guys. I don't know the specifics. Maybe then the answer is you keep Daniel Jones for 2 years on $30 million. Right? That's also a steal. They did neither of those things, and then they get like 32-year-old Carson Wentz. And what has Carson Wentz done in the last 5 years to show that he would be able to pick up an offense that quickly? And maybe early on, he saw. That's why JJ sat as long as he did, because he saw like maybe Carson can keep this going. And even when Carson was hurt that 1 week and JJ looked like healthy on the sidelines, throwing the football to receivers, and he's inactive, not even in pads. I don't know, they're trying to slow burn it. But to me, if you're going to do that, then you sign Sam Darnold to a 1 year, $35 million, and you give him 1 more year. And if he shows he's the starter, then you trade your first overall pick. That's your first round pick. But I don't know. It's such a tough game when it comes to that. But yeah, hindsight is 2020. But how do you ditch a quarterback that got you 14-3? How do you do that?
It's hard to
do.
It's hard to get that many wins. Do you guys think that Justin Jefferson should request a trade? Obviously, it's obviously too late right now, but I'm saying after the season.
Yeah, should.
Yeah.
Should, yes. Will he? Probably not. But, he has the right to. I'll say that. Yeah, for sure.
If I'm him, I'm getting up out of there.
Because I don't know what the future holds. I don't know how you fix this JJ issue.
You got to reset.
And I'm not even saying, it's too early. We haven't seen enough from JJ to know he's a bust. But if I'm Jettas and I'm like, yo, this is my talent, I'm in my prime, do I want to sit here during a rebuild and potentially have another season of me not getting the ball? Or do I want to go somewhere and catch passes?
Yeah, Lions should trade J-Mo and a first-round pick.
If I'm the Bengals, I'm giving everything. But bring the boys back together.
Ain't no
way. If you're the Bengals, that'd be so sick, dude. Trade T. Higgins for him.
They wouldn't even have.
You gotta go.
They wouldn't even have 53 men on the roster. They would have an offense, and they would just every time they would just spot them 7. They're not gonna put a defense out there. They're just gonna you get your 7. Now let's get our 7, and we'll just
they'll go for 2 every play.
Get them vet minimums out there.
Yeah,
vet minimums out there. Felt that 53.
Oh my God. Have Bobby Wagner over there, see if they can get Richard Sherman out of retirement.
Yeah.
Sure, I might have to go out there for a play.
If they have both of those receivers on that team, you might be able to. You're not able to pay anybody else.
Be doing open tryouts for all of our defensive roster.
Hey, whatever I'm gonna do, block. I ain't gotta touch the ball.
Okay. Here's my last question for you guys. Packers, Lions, Bears. Who do you have the most faith in to finish the season strong?
Packers.
Okay.
I'm going to plead the fifth.
Deep playoff run, Toph, or?
You just asked the most faith?
Yeah. He said Packers, and then I said, deep playoff run, or?
It's deep, like divisional,
did they win championship? Did they win a playoff game? Did they win 2 playoff games?
Oh, yeah. I think they could win at least 1 playoff game.
Okay. Kyle?
Yeah, no, I'm not answering this.
You got to answer it, dog.
If I get the Jordan Love that played Thanksgiving, yes.
Okay, yeah. You're not going to answer for Kyle?
He said, I already had to bash my line. You can't ask me to do this.
Yeah, I'm good on this one.
I agree 100% with Topha's Packers. I think that the Bears, eventually, it catches up to them. I just don't think that they're ready yet. I think that next year could be their year. I think that, to use the phrase you used earlier, house money, I think this whole season has been. And it's all right, the city of Chicago is behind you now. Go out there and do your thing next season. But it's too early right now. The Lions.
They have 7 wins that were literally like a 1-score game.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's like that, though.
So.
Like,
No, it is, but like I
that's
said, if you win into games like that, very easily you lose one of those.
That's the big difference between. There's been several teams like that. The most recent, the Chiefs. That you look at, like,
Chiefs the big one.
Yep. That some seasons it's like that, and then the next season you lose all of those.
Chiefs won a Super Bowl off a season of doing that. So.
Yep. The Packers are who I would have as well too. I think they could knock somebody off. It depends on who they play.
Just to be different, I'll go with the Bears. Just because that'll hopefully make them go like 0-5 in their last 5 weeks. Because I'm wrong all the time, so I'll go with the Bears.
I mean, what, 6 plays 2, so they'll play the Rams if the season ended today?
And that's
I don't know
it's a
about
hard
that
one. Yep, it depends on who they get.
Hold on.
It depends on who they get. They could knock out like the Bucks or somebody, but I don't know if they could knock the Rams out. Or
if they get the 5 seed, they'll play Eagles. I can see them winning that one easily.
I will say that the Seahawks, I think, can take most of these teams out. I think that they'd have a really hard time with the Rams with their pass rush and the Packers with their pass rush. If you can get Micah, if Micah can get to Sam Darnold a few times,
gotta get Sam off the spot.
Game. Yep.
That division has just become so much more entertaining to me. I mean, we kind of predicted that early on, that they would be that wild card division. You didn't know what was going to happen, and man, I mean, the Niners have kind of slipped a little, but all of them have been competitive all year, so it's just cool to see.
Yeah, I agree. Over to another North, the AFC North. The Steelers basically they're doing everything they can do to fucking miss the playoffs, dog. These motherfuckers had a playoff spot given to them. They had the Ravens had Lamar hurt for weeks. Joe Burrow was out for a fucking month. And still, it's anyone's division. The Steelers are now 6 wins. The Ravens are 6 wins. The Ravens couldn't take command of it because they blew that shit to the Bengals on Thanksgiving. The Bengals are at 4 wins. They're only 2 games behind them. This division is anybody's still, and the Steelers, who had basically shit given to them, I have the least amount of faith in of all of them. Gun to my head, Ravens probably win the division, but I think that the Bengals could definitely come up out of nowhere and take that shit over.
Bengals went out. Look, I think if the Bengals went out, look out in the playoffs. I mean, obviously that defense has as many holes as a freaking something that has a lot of holes in it, but they but that offense is going to be Thank you. That offense is going to be growing and humming now that Joe's back. The energy is going to be back. They were already all right. I mean, growing and humming. What? Why is that a plausible offense? I don't know. You tell me, audience. Apparently, these guys think it's funny. So I think the offense is going to keep. Yeah, sure. All right. Yep. I think the offense is going to keep growing and humming, and the more Joe Burrow we see, the better this team is going to get. So yeah, I would not put it against them to go 9-8 and win the division somehow.
Yeah, I mean their defense has got holes as open as a Bella Danger at work, but
I wasn't going to go there, but all right.
It's hilarious on Thanksgiving, dog. The announcers, every chance they can get coming into the game, and then like for the first half, multiple times. Yeah, this defense is about as bad as it can get. There's like, yeah, this defense is terrible. These niggas suck. And then, and then the defense showed up and fucking got 5 takeaways off the Ravens. It's insane. But you know what it was? Guess who took a picture with some of the Bengals before the game? Kay Adams.
A Bella Danger. Oh. Nice.
And they showed out. So can't let Kay down.
Hey.
Yeah,
we trust,
bruh. It's
America's sweetheart.
I'm so sick, bro. That the Lions situation, the Packers have not been as good as I thought, and now my boy Aaron Rodgers has been getting dusted by everybody. It's just a bad football year for your boy over here, man. I think I need like Lamar Jackson to win the Super Bowl for me to have any happiness. Good
luck.
Shedeur Sanders, speaking of the AFC North, Shedeur Sanders, they came out after the game today and said that he is going to get the start next week, which I'm obviously happy about. I do want to take a second just to say that I feel really bad for Dillon Gabriel. And here's why. Everyone obviously loves Shedeur. His own team wants Shedeur to play. Myles Garrett wants Shedeur to play. All the fans want Shedeur to play. And it's all coming at the expense of Dillon Gabriel's career. And what's sad about it is the fact that Dillon Gabriel didn't ask for this. He wanted to go to a team, any team that would give him the opportunity to play. And while he did get a few weeks, he then out with a concussion, and it seems like his chance may be over with. And it's just unfortunate because it's got to suck to see how much everyone else in the world, other than you and Stefanski, want Shedeur. And once again, he didn't ask for this. The Browns really are the ones who bear all the culpability for this. You never draft two quarterbacks like this. It never works out. RG3 and Kirk Cousins. There's been other examples of it, but it's like Dillon Gabriel, like I said, I just feel bad for him. I feel bad for the fact that he's got to go through all of this, and he did nothing wrong to deserve this.
Yeah, he didn't choose to be picked 2 rounds ahead of Shedeur and end up on the same franchise. Like, he expected to be going in and, you know, being the maybe project at the worst quarterback, right? Somebody that would sit for a year or two and then get their shot. And then when you get picked by the Browns in round 3 and they don't really have a whole lot in front of you at quarterback, you start to think, okay, maybe I'm going to be the guy here. Maybe they believe in me. And then they go and pick the guy that everybody wanted them to pick in round 1, 2 rounds later. Like, I mean, yeah, I feel terrible that for the circumstances of his career. As a somewhat of a Ducks fan here, I loved watching him in college, and I thought he would kind of, and he might still have it. Like, it's still so young, but I thought he would have like a Bryce Young type, like growing. Like he's gonna take some time to adjust to the taller linemen, the taller D linemen, seeing over all that. It is a big difference going from even just D1 to the pros. So I saw some, you know, that he might need some time there, but you're not going to get that when you've got the entire fan base breathing down your neck to get number 12 in the game. So, and obviously he's more electric. He's got more movement in the pocket. He's got a better arm, in my opinion. He's got better touch. So, I mean, and honestly, better vision. Like that touchdown to 44 wide open today, the only touchdown of the game. I mean, I don't think Gabriel would have even seen that. And I mean, I don't know. I'm not trying to throw shade at him, but yeah, it's not his fault. But Shedeur got snubbed, and now Gabriel has to pay for it because the demand for Shedeur is so high.
Yeah. Toph, you have anything on this?
I mean, currently right now, both of those quarterbacks, you know, jobs are in peril. Because like I said, Stefanski's gone. Yeah, I mean, Shedeur's a 5th round pick. Dillon Gabriel, 3rd round pick. Every new coach wants to bring in their own quarterback. So they definitely don't want Shedeur. Definitely don't want Dillon. Right now, after, you know, NFL ended right now, the Browns had their 5th pick, and they're projected to get Dante Moore out of Oregon. Funny how, you know, just talked about Dillon Gabriel at Oregon. You got Dante Moore. I find it very, very hard to believe that, you know, one or both these guys would be starting under center for next year. Now, if I'm Dillon Gabriel, like I said, I don't want to say his NFL career is over. I mean, you got some of these bad teams, you know, why not give a shot at him to be, you know, backup, maybe potentially, you know, fight for a starter. If Spencer Rattler can start a couple of games, you know, for a couple of years now, you know, why can't Dillon? I think, like so, he's definitely no force multiplier. I think his issue is he doesn't push the ball down the field. But if you got a team that, you know, has a good defense, just wants somebody to steer the ship, you know, I think he could do that. He probably get, you know, 2 explosive plays. But, you know, I don't think, you know, Dillon's career is over whatsoever, or Shedeur.
You know what would be so freaking hilarious? I know it would be funny to you, but I'd laugh my ass off. This entire time you've been saying, get Penix out of here. Let's get Shedeur.
Don't say it.
Imagine if you niggas wound up with Dillon Gabriel.
I would burn every Falcons gear I have. I would no longer be a fan. I would bandwagon so fast.
Wait, but you just said he could. You just said he could reestablish his career.
Not for my team. Not for my team. You think we're set up to just play defense and just, you know, let Dillon, you know, no, we need a savior over here.
He's like, it's all good. It's all good till it's in my neighborhood. No way.
Tom Brady couldn't save us right now in his prime.
Real quick, too, just while we're talking about quarterbacks moving around, and I meant to bring this up in the last topic. This is a complete harebrained, half-cooked idea that I had watching the game tonight. and it's probably fucking stupid, but I just want to put it out here.
Probably.
Imagine that the answer to the JJ McCarthy situation, they need a better backup. How y'all feel about Marcus Mariota with Kevin O'Connell?
I've thought of worse things in my life, that's for sure.
It doesn't make any sense for the Commanders. Mariota is the perfect replacement for Jaden Daniels, but just because of their play style. But watching Mariota tonight and imagine him with McConnell, how does that hit you?
I think a lot of it has to do with Cliff Kingsbury.
Okay.
Because we've seen Mariota in Tennessee. We saw him with my team with the Falcons. He was not very good. I think Cliff Kingsbury does a phenomenal job, at getting, a perfect, play call set for his quarterbacks. He'll ask you what you like to do. If you're a heavy RPO kind of guy, he will put you in the right position to do that. So if Cliff Kingsbury wasn't there, I don't know if he'd see the same Marcus Mariota that we saw today.
Yeah, that's very fair. But at the same time, Kevin O'Connell has been somewhat of a quarterback whisperer too. So, yeah, maybe you get some of that success. I mean, it'd be better than Carson Wentz, that's for sure, as a backup to me. I think there's plenty out there for him to choose from when it comes to better backups than Carson Wentz. So
it's funny.
I did see Josh Dobbs. He was cooking when he played a couple of games for the Vikings too. So yeah, I could see that.
Josh Dobbs had that season was crazy. That man was just going around from
that 5-game stretch.
I know. Win a few games over here, win a few games over here.
That boy was a gun for hire.
He was.
I saw a tweet and I forgot who it was. So I can't credit them unfortunately, but I saw a tweet that basically said the fix in Minnesota is really simple. Cut JJ McCarthy. JJ McCarthy is now declared as a bust. Re-sign JJ McCarthy, let him work with Kevin O'Connell. Fireworks.
That's so funny.
All right, we got 2 topics left, and the first one, I'm gonna give the mic straight to Toph. Today is your day, man. It's been a bad day, like we said. It was a bad weekend for Michigan sports, but after I don't know how many years it's been a long time coming. But you deserve to say whatever you've got to say. Say it now.
Well, first I want to say, Bryce Underwood, my guy, they're doing you no favors down there in Ann Arbor. Now this is a guy that's making some real deal NFL money. For you to have 50-something yards, 7 for 14, it was not good. But I do think Bryce Underwood, I definitely think he's the guy for the job. But Michigan needs to do some real deal soul searching, finding some new coordinators to, get this guy right. We can't be having, year after year after year, subpar offensive play, out of Michigan. This was the number 1 recruit, in the nation. You brought up at whoever, is your boosters and you got the whole collection together, stole this man from LSU. He was about to go there until you dropped 15 M's on the table and said, if you come here, this is all yours right there. That's what a team would use for a whole collection of NIL players. You gave that to one person. And I think that does show, a little bit because, in today's, college football is basically, NFL free agency. So whoever has the most money, you're going to be able to get the best players. It's what Ohio State's been doing for a while now. And I do think Michigan, definitely tries to build their team to beat Ohio State, which they've done for years now. But, when you come, back-to-back years of not too much offensive play, Ohio State, I would say has a better defense than we had those 4 years that, we've had to play, Michigan. And it shows, Matt Patricia, who as much as we probably talk about this guy in the NFL level, he's done a phenomenal job, in college for Ohio State. Chip Kelly, we had him for our national run. He did an amazing job. Went to Oakland, ain't do a damn thing.
Fired.
And now we got Brian Hartline, who, like I said, earlier, he's, a big part of, all the Ohio State wide receivers we see go pro. Why they look so good, it's all because of him. He went to Ohio State, years ago, probably over more than a decade ago. Played for the Dolphins as well too. did his thing. But when it comes to just, building wide receivers, Ohio State does it every single year. We saw Marvin Harrison, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave. It doesn't matter. Year after year after year, they're going to have another one. Carnell Tate, Jeremiah Smith, by far the two best wide receivers in the whole nation. And they play on the same team. Carnell Tate will be a top 5 or top 10 pick. The man is outstanding, very smooth. Jeremiah Smith has to play one more year. If I'm him, I'm shutting it down. I'm not playing next year. I'm doing the Jamar Chase prepare for the draft statement there. But Ohio State, I said all this. But as Kobe Bryant said, the job ain't finished. If we beat not Ohio State, if we beat Michigan and lose the playoffs, it was all for nothing. I could care less about the win. If we're going to beat Michigan, that was cool and dandy. But, we're running for that national championship. Anything other than that is a failed season.
Kyle?
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt in 2023. If we're going to go out and beat you guys without even our head coach, we better go finish the job. And y'all were definitely the better team this year. So if y'all are going to get out there and put belt to ass against us, you guys better go run the table. And as a Michigan fan, I hope you do, because that'll just make us look a little bit better, even though we aren't that good. No, I really agree with you. The offense needs to kind of take a step up as they continue to trust Bryce. There were a couple games this year, but it was usually like the Northwestern game or like the Central Michigan game. It's like all these smaller school games that he's starting to pop and lock, these easier defenses to scheme against a little bit. He was starting to really hit his vibe. But yeah, I really think that, I mean, we would have lost the game regardless, probably based on how our defense played. But having our number one running back in, Justice Haynes, like we were already down to Jordan Marshall starting the game, who was banged up. He gets hurt almost right away. So then we're back to our RB3 for the whole game against one of the best defenses in college football. Like that sucks, And I'm not saying we're winning the game and he's going to put the team on his back, but he was like a top 5, top 6 Heisman favorite before he got hurt, Justice Haynes. So like, I don't see how. I think it would have been a closer game. It would have been a lot more competitive. The offense would have been flowing a little bit better. You might have seen a little bit more success out of Bryce in the past game because the run game would have been working better. And at the end of the day, that's Michigan, right? We're the run it down your throat team. You guys are the air it out spread offense, the more exciting offense, if we're being honest, right? But yeah, it was you guys executed it perfectly. I got to give you guys all the credit there. Matt Patricia called a really good scheme against the young offense. Offensive coordinator did everything he had to do. Did everything he had to do by far. Who was it last year? Will Howard. He crumbled under all that pressure last year from just the pressure of it being Michigan and some of those looks he wasn't used to seeing. And Sayin had that in the first half a little bit, and then second half came around and he was like, hold up. I ain't going to make the same mistakes my predecessor did. I'm going to go and win this game. And he did that.
Question for you.
Yeah.
If you had John, not a bad thing. If you had John Harbaugh right now as your coach and you had Bryce Underwood,
yeah.
I'll bet. Yeah, my bad. Jim Harbaugh.
I'd take John too.
If you would have, I don't know about John. Get the hell away from me with John. If you had Jim Harbaugh, how different would Bryce Underwood look right now? As a former quarterback who's been known to, love his quarterbacks pretty well. J.J. McCarthy.
I think he'd be looking a little bit better for sure this year, for sure. You might have been seeing a lot of those same like rookie, freshman mistakes, whatever. But yeah, I think he'd be looking better. Jim Harbaugh, I still think he's a better coach than Sherrone Moore, which is why he's in the NFL now.
So if Toph isn't going to ask this question, then I'll ask it then.
Mm-hmm.
Are you still, Kyle, because you guys have debated this before, this is what I thought you were going to ask, are you still high on Sherrone Moore?
Yeah.
With that man
No, I know. Toph, because I know you're.
No, I know you were done with him before the game even. No, I'm still high on Sherrone Moore. I really am. I think he's got a lot to learn, but yeah, if we end up with like an 8-4 record next year, or 7-5 record next year, even 9-3. If we miss the playoffs next year, I think he's out. Yeah, I'm just saying if we backslide or whatever
rough,
next year,
rough.
then I think he's out. But like to me, like he's progressed in his 2 seasons, 7-5, 9-3. Like there's no reason for me to think he's not going to keep progressing. He cares a lot about this team, and you can see that in his press conferences and on the side of the field, like during games, how like his heart is there. So as long as he has the good coach, the right coaches around him, I think that they'll be good.
All I want to say about the whole thing, it's still fuck Ohio State. But Toph, congratulations to you specifically. It's been a long time
that's
coming.
crazy.
We've been talking greasy to you for
All
the
the good things I said about y'all. This is what I get.
No.
Hey,
I
gave you your congratulations.
I'm saying congrats to you. I'm saying congrats to you. We were talking
nothing bad.
We were
about
talking
Michigan
greasy to
coach.
you this whole time, and I'm just saying to you, congratulations. I'm happy for you. It's been a long time coming. I'm happy that y'all got this.
And this
I just openly
nothing bad about you.
I just openly
admitted you guys are more fun to watch. I just openly admitted y'all were more fun to watch. You can't say I didn't give you guys your flowers. You guys are by far the better team. You have always been the more fun team to watch.
And the under. I put $15 on that parlay. Y'all sold me.
It was pain insurance, like I talked about before.
I almost put 50 on it. That's how confident I was that Michigan might win this game.
Hey man, like
Glad
I said,
I did it.
It's all love to you, dog. I'm happy for you. I've got several friends that are Ohio State fans. I had to send out the text. Hey, congratulations! You know, y'all did your thing. I can't talk any shit.
I will say that
I am intrigued to see the Indiana matchup next.
Oh yeah,
at Ford Field. Indians were putting up 50 points a game.
Ooh, it's at Ford Field.
I have no idea what's going to happen. Yeah, the Big Ten chips are also at Ford Field. Neutral site, Ohio State is dominant at the neutral site games. One of the
best. I might have to go to that.
I might go with you. Hold on now.
Hey,
later.
Them tickets probably a lot though. So, hold on.
Yeah, it probably will cost something.
That parlay ain't hit.
It's gonna be just like we're gonna get on the website. It's gonna be just like going to the Canada Goose website. Oh, never mind.
Now we'll make up. We'll cook up a parlay on Friday night for one of those games, one of those small town games. Hopefully we hit.
All in.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else you want to say about this, Toph? This is your one chance. Talk your shit.
No. I mean, like I said, the goal is to win a natty. Once you won it last year, you brought the whole team back. Like I said, anything other than a national championship win again is a failed season.
That's fair. If these niggas
I don't even care about the game no more.
This nigga gonna be insufferable.
Man, a first round exit would be kind of cool.
Don't say that.
Okay, so last topic of the night. And Toph, I want you to go first after I kind of lay this out here. So, Lane Kiffin is officially out at Ole Miss. He's going to be LSU's next head coach, effective immediately. He's not going to be coaching Ole Miss during the playoffs. And for added context, if I'm not mistaken, Lane Kiffin's daughter is dating a receiver at LSU, just to add a little spice to the whole situation.
Not this again.
No. That's all I was saying. It's interesting. Like, imagine that you dating somebody and then her dad becomes your head coach. Like, whoa!
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
We're about to hit different
now. Thanksgiving dinner had to be real awkward. He's like, you can't tell him if he accepted the job or not. He's like, we'll see.
Toph, take it away.
Man, Lane Kiffin has came a long, long way, man. He's one of the better, head coaches in college football. When it comes to just developing a quarterback, my guy, or I can say our guy now, Jackson Dart. He came from USC. He was the one that got away from them. Transferred to Ole Miss, under Lane Kiffin. And ever since then, he's ascended to new heights. Lane Kiffin is one of the better head coaches in the nation. So, just work on your quarterback. This whole year, he brought in Trinidad Chambers, transfer. He was actually from Grand Rapids, Michigan, which you guys didn't know. And the man is absolutely balling out right now. Kawan Lacey, sophomore running back, has 1,200 yards, 20 touchdowns right now. So we said Deion Sanders, he left Jackson State, went to Colorado. He says, I'm bringing my luggage in this Louis. Lane Kiffin will be going to LSU. He's bringing Prada, Chanel, Gucci, Louis, all of that, and some, because all the best players that are at Ole Miss, you must believe they're going right there to LSU. And I heard that they dropped 50 M's for him. So you got it.
Yep.
And your roster, I could be wrong, but I think I heard it today. So you got 25 mil NIL. Build your team. And we see the whole, SEC as a whole. Georgia and Kirby Smart, Kalen DeBoer, and Alabama. Everywhere that Lane Kiffin has gone, he's been, amazing. It sucks that, the team right now, 11-1, he wanted to at least try to finish the season. He did all this to kind of get the team to the playoffs, and, they're not going to let him finish it out, even though he wanted to. I know that's usually, what you kind of do if you're not, with them anymore. I'm not going to let you coach my team, poach some of my players. But he's done a lot, man. He just came a long way with Nick Saban. Just, the man couldn't even get on the plane after the loss. And Nick Saban said, no, you got to get up out of here. But now he's came a long way, man. And I'm excited to see what he can do in LSU. Because I think he's going to, have a hell of a team, man. And, I think got to watch out for LSU once again. Because you never know with Alabama. Kirby Smart still has those Bulldogs rocking. They got to stop speeding. All this craziness, all these Hellcats down there in Georgia. I don't know what it is, but y'all got to get right. But Lane Kiffin, man, shout out to you. You had a hell of a season, and you got to bring a natty down there to good old the Bayou, down there to Baton Rouge.
Kyle, you got anything on this or?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a tough situation. Like, I love Lane Kiffin on a lot of levels. I love how he's like ready to talk shit with anybody, whether it be head coach of another team, a random fan of another team, a random fan of Ole Miss. Like, he was just ready to go to bat against any of them. And I love that energy. I love that he's like still chill with his ex-wife. Like, I don't know why I think that's cool, but like that's cool as hell. Like, I mean, like, he was trying to set his ex-wife up with Theo Vaughn earlier in the season or something. Like,
Okay.
Yeah, so I just think Lane Kiffin's personality is hilarious and infectious and hilarious. Like, just he was on College Game Day, and he was talking shit back and forth with Nick Saban. He was giving Nick Saban his old quotes back at him when Nick was talking crap about like who they had to look out. Like, I love his energy all across the board. But I know college loyalty is over, and like this is where we're at now, right? 10 years ago, this was a problem. Like, him bouncing around, him leaving Tennessee, this was an issue. To me, it's all the only issue I have with this is the timing that he did it before the college playoff. Like, go and give everything you can to Ole Miss, and then move on. But this is exactly why Nick Saban wouldn't let him get on the plane, is because he was like, you're putting too much attention toward your future job, and you're not putting enough attention on Alabama's national championship right now. So you're gone. So, like, to me, like, I think Lane Kiffin is going to be great at LSU, and I'm rooting for him. I really am. I'm a fan. I think he's hilarious. But yeah, like, go finish the season with your team, because now, like you just said, a lot of guys are going to want to follow him, but more probably would have wanted to follow him if he finished this season out with the school. Now, some of those guys are going to feel abandoned, and they're going to go every other which way in the SEC and try to go and kick Lane's ass next year. So
that wasn't Lane's decision though. That was
right.
Ole Miss says he's got to go.
Right.
And that brings.
But yeah, he wanted to.
I have two, I guess, points of contention that I want to bring up. The first one is that I don't, and maybe as you guys are a little bit more avid fans of college football, can maybe explain this to me. I hate that happened for two. I don't think it's a dual thing. Lane did all these things to get them to where they are right now. I think that he deserves to have the chance to finish the job. This is the last dance. At the same time, okay, you want to stick it to Lane Kiffin by not letting him finish the job. You're not punishing him. You're punishing the players that have put in all this work since the summertime, that now they're in the playoffs, and they don't have the same chance of winning that they did before because you just took their coach away. And if either of you can explain to me why that makes sense, I would love to hear that. But to me, that seems so petty. But it's not. You're not hurting the coach. You're hurting the players. You raised your hand, Toph.
That all comes down to the money.
Can you explain
At
it?
the end of the day, the programs, what is their ultimate goal? It's just make as much money as possible there. The longer Lane Kiffin stays there, the more success he has, as soon as he's gone, you lose all that. All the players that, he brought with him, recruited, trained up, all that. As soon as wherever he goes, they're gone as well too. So probably half your roster is gone. So why would you keep this guy here, to kind of, help himself? Because, you're not getting anything out of it anymore. Yes, it would be cool, if your team possibly does win a national championship. But do you think, the higher ups of Ole Miss really care about that at the end of the day?
Isn't that the goal?
What do you think as well too? It's a little bit different than like, NBA and NFL. Like the coaches, are kind of like the rock stars in college. It's the same thing with college basketball. Because like I said, all those players, they're not really here for the program. They're a little bit, but it's the coach that goes out there, College coaching, that's like a all year round job. As soon as the season's over, you got to go out there, recruit, and all that stuff in there. And it's the coach.
What I'm failing
go
to
ahead.
understand is how does it benefit Ole Miss to not let him finish the job?
The better he does, like the more power, the more that he can command.
But he already has the job.
I mean, like I said, well, also this as well too. They're in the same conference, Ole Miss and LSU. That's SEC, which is other than Big Ten, that's the cream of the crop on there.
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, if you're gonna have to go against this guy, from here on out, and he basically kind of, which is I think it's bad, but it's kind of like you want to wash your hands, with this man. And now that he's not right with you anymore, you guys broke up, divorced, I'm taking everything, the whole house, the dog, everything's mine. So it's a little bit different. I know what you mean. Like it's kind of hard to explain.
Well, it seems so petty in just the sense of like, you ever seen two people that have been together for a long time have the messy divorce, and then when it's all said and done, they say, "I mean, at least I got my kids out of it."
Mm-hmm.
That's the national championship. Like I don't understand why short. It's literally the saying, "Cut off your nose to spite your face."
Yeah.
I don't see the benefit of it.
But let me try to break it down like this a little bit more for you. Okay. Let's look at the NFL standpoint. Let's use Bill Belichick. Mm-hmm. Do we say the Patriots won those Super Bowls? Or we say Bill Belichick won those Super Bowls?
Both.
Yeah. I mean, I'm more. I think the coach say. I mean, you could even say Tom Brady as well too. Like I said, it's backwards. I don't. I think it's wrong myself as well too, but it's just how it works with college sports. For some reason, they just, once that person says they're gone, they just don't want them at all anymore.
I think
I don't really fully get it, but it's just how it goes.
If I was a player, I think that, I'm putting myself back at like 19. I think that I was emotionally mature enough at that point to understand what careers meant to people, and I think that this would be the move that makes all the players leave Ole Miss, because I don't blame Lane Kiffin for trying to do what the best he can in his profession. I blame you, the athletic director, for costing me a chance at the national championship after all the work I put in.
Yeah,
I agree with you. And pretty much like every coach that does this all the same thing. They end up saying, "Okay, yeah, you got to go."
The other thing that I wanted to bring up too, and I'm not ignorant enough to think that this would ever stop them from getting a good coach, but I thought it was greasy as hell. And don't get me wrong, from all accounts and stories that I've heard, which I'm not going to take the time to get into, Brian Kelly seems like a real piece of shit. But LSU tried to do him so greasy with that guaranteed money to try to say that they never officially fired him and he quit, and so they didn't have to pay him out his guaranteed money, and that was going to go to court. That was the greasiest, slimiest shit I've ever heard of before. And if I was a head coach looking at an opportunity like that, I'd be like, ooh, don't know if I want to touch that. But it's LSU, and they're too big to fail, so...
I mean, at the end of the day, like LSU was like, what's the way? How can I break this down?
I mean, they're it.
No, like I said, it's just like it's a hierarchy in there.
Yeah.
like Alabama, Ohio
Mecca,
State, Michigan,
is Alabama, LSU,
Yes.
Ohio State.
Yeah.
It's those
It's
teams.
like when we
No,
play
no,
college football. Like
I
you
understand it.
see,
Like I'd rather be a head coach at Ohio State than Penn State. Like I get
yeah,
it.
it commands more money. You get better talent. It's just it's like what's the guy from Western?
PJ
Oh,
Fleck. PJ
Yeah,
Fleck.
PJ Fleck.
Fleck.
Yeah. Yep.
He
Out in Minnesota
killed it
now.
at Western. But when Minnesota's knocking on the door, you get better players, more money, better for your family as well too. As much as you loved your time at Western, really rocking with those players, it's just a better opportunity. It's hard to say no to that because it could be once in a lifetime because you can never get this chance again. So, like I said, when your name is hot, you got to do it.
I don't blame him for it.
Yeah.
Same reason, like, I didn't have the animosity toward Ben Johnson that a lot of Lions fans had, where they were like, "Oh, you're looking too much toward like Chicago." Like, bro, you got to take your chances for your career when you get them.
Yeah, it's just a little bit weird how college does that. Like, they just don't let you finish it, and sometimes that could be a detriment to your team, where they may not even pick you to make it to the playoffs because your coach is gone. Their record, they shouldn't really impact them, but if you're like right on the border, the committee could screw you over because of your coach being gone. But like I said, that has nothing to do with the players.
Kyle, were you going to say something a second ago? Okay.
I think I lost you guys for a second.
Oh,
You definitely did.
okay. I thought you were being a smart ass, dog. I said, were you going to say something a second ago? And you were just saying, what the? He's fucking with us. He's fucking with us.
Oh, man.
All right, Mannequin Challenge Kyle. All right. I think that's it for the episode. He's really not saying shit. I don't know if it's a network thing or if he's.
His camera's just kind of coming in and out. So,
Toph,
let's wrap it up here.
Yep. Okay. All right. Thank you guys for watching Late Entry. Catch us back this upcoming Wednesday. It's 10 o'clock. Oh, no, he can hear us. Motherfucker saluting. 10 o'clock
I'm
Eastern,
back.
9 p.m. Central. We'll see y'all then. This motherfucker.
back.
Peace.
You got something? All right. Bye.